What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Let's Talk About It podcast. I am your host, Leon Reed Jones, and today I have a mother, a woman of faith, and an entrepreneur. Today, our special guest is Miss Taylor. Taylor, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So what's some new things? I know I had you on last season. So what's been up? What's some new things that have been going on or that's on the horizon for you?
So I don't remember, was I in the finance industry yet or was I getting in it? I can't remember, but either way, so cleaning business is still running and I am a financial professional now. So I work in the financial planning space. So that is, kind of what we're doing right now, and still growing my cleaning company. But yeah.
Okay, great to hear that. And the reason why I also mentioned that you're a woman of faith, I definitely see, across your social media, like you are like unapologetically like open about, your love for God. And I always, enjoy to see, people, show their love for God. So I definitely wanted to mention that. But we're going to get right into it. So my first question to my guests has been last few episodes is, in your case, who is Taylor? Who would you say Taylor is? If you had to describe who you are, who would you say you are?
Well, you did a pretty good introduction when you introduced me as a mother, as a woman of faith, as a young lady, as an entrepreneur. So, I'm all of those things. I am a lover and advocate for women. I am a confidant. That is just who Taylor is. I have two beautiful children. My son will be 14 this month, and then I have a 5-year-old daughter. I own two businesses, so my cleaning company and then my financial business that I run. I am pretty much a Jane of all trades. There's really not much that I can't do or haven't tried to tap into. I'm a life coach, so that is one of my other many titles that I hold, specifically for children, young adults, anywhere between ages 14 to I've had clients who were in their 30s, almost 40s. So, I am a lot of things, but I think that the two most important is a follower of Christ. Definitely, I am very unapologetic about my faith, very unapologetic about who I believe in, who has been my provider, who has been my way maker. Like, I owe it all to God, and then mother for sure.
For sure. And you said that you're a life coach. So what made you, and you brought up the fact that you're like a life coach for like young people and everything. So like what made you want to go into that field or realm of like being a life coach and to choose with all the options that you had as far as age gaps? What made you want to choose young people?
I have a really special place in my heart for young people. I wanted to be that person that I did not have growing up. The person that was not so old, because, when we're young, we think we're grown, but we don't want to hear anything from old people.
Right.
So someone that's not too old, but can relate still. Someone that has been through some stuff that is not just speaking from an experience that is unrelatable to what these kids are going through now. I feel like that I'm in an age where I've experienced a lot of life, but a lot of the challenges that some of the children are going through these days, I've also experienced those as well. My gap is not too far where I can't relate.
Right.
And so I really enjoy talking to the children and just motivating them. And I don't even want them to feel as though they're like babies, because we all thought we were grown when we were in high school and middle school and got a rude awakening once we graduated. But at any rate, I just want them to be like, there's so it's so much comparison now, and it's so much like false representation of what they should be. And I want to be that person that they can come to just sort out, okay, well, I really don't know what I want to be, or I really don't know what direction I want to go in. And we walk through that and navigate through that and can like work through who they are, what they want to do, where they want to go, and they don't have to be lost. I was lost a lot for a long time growing up, middle school, high school. And so I just want to be that person where, you know, you don't have to be lost. Like, I'm here. I'll help you. I'll hold your hand.
And I love that, because I always say it's so crazy how you will see somebody go through the exact same thing a young person or just a person in general goes through, but like when they get saved or when they get delivered from that thing, it's like they kind of, not all people, but a good percentage of people, they try to act like they never went through that, and they down the next person that is going through the very same thing that they experienced. So it's like my whole thing, I always looked at it like, well, if our common denominator is we both struggle in that way, and I've been delivered from that, or I've grown from that, why would I not reach out? Why would I not help you? And it's enough success, it's enough growth to go around this whole entire world. So I love that. And I think it's like imperative to know that you don't have to. I was just telling somebody, like, a lot of times, like, people try to, as you said, like social media, like surroundings, like get us into this place where we feel like, I always use this as an example, like you got a good kid, you got a person who grows up in a good environment, good neighborhood, and you want to be something that you're not. You want to grow up in a bad neighborhood. You want to be the person who is like we already promised struggle. That's like spiritual, that's biblical. But it's like you want to go through, you want to volunteer yourself for struggle because like, oh, this is going to look cool. This is going to look like, and I call it like, you want your story to be like extreme, like, oh man, I went through this, like I had to kill this person to get to like, and it's like, it's okay. Like it's okay to come from a good household. Like, that's not to say that you won't struggle. We're all going to struggle, whether we come from a rich household, a poor household, like we all are guaranteed struggle. But the main thing is to realize, like, whether you come from a good background, a quote unquote bad background, you can still be successful. There are people that are willing to genuinely help you, and you don't have to be something that you're not.
Absolutely.
And it's something that you mentioned about your kids. And I know the last time we talked, you said you had your son at a young age. So how was that? And like how you talk about, you know, thinking you were growing in high school, middle school and stuff, and realizing, as we all do and will, like our parents had our best interests, or like our mentors telling us the stuff that we felt like was, oh man, this is annoying. My dad just trying to, you know, run off at the mouth, my mom, my grandma, whatever. So how was having your son young, and then like that whole experience, like what was that like for you?
So I had my son when I was 16. Before I got pregnant with him, I was in the marching band. I did color guard. I was in orchestra, had been in orchestra, I think for, at that time, 6 years. In the choir. I went to Ferndale, so we were, you know, I was in school, got pregnant with him, and realized, well, I didn't want to fall behind in school. So I had to go to an alternative. I didn't have to, but I chose to go to an alternative school the year that my junior year, so that I wouldn't fall behind.
All right.
That was a very interesting experience. I had straight A's in school, pretty much, almost straight. Never failed, never really got suspended or anything of that going in middle school and high school. I think I may have got suspended once because I have a mouth on me. Sorry, y'all. Going to an alternative school, for those that don't know what an alternative school is, it's typically a school where people who have gotten kicked out of regular school or fell behind for whatever reason, they go. And so I was in a school where almost every other day we had drug sweeps. The police were coming up there with dogs, and I'm 7.5 months pregnant. People are fighting every day. It was a wake up call. Then I had my son. When I was pregnant, everyone told me, you're not going to graduate from high school. They told me that you will never be successful. I got shunned at the church that I was at. I was working at the church at the time, and a lot of them didn't want me to work there because I was pregnant. It was rough. My mom, I didn't grow up like, you know how sometimes they say like teen mothers, their mothers were teen mothers as well. My mom was not a teen mother, and my mom was highly upset that I was pregnant. She actually did not want me to be pregnant. But I chose, anyways. And it was rough, to say the least. But I did graduate from high school, top 20% of my class. I did go to Wayne State. I will be getting my degree finally in May. It took me a minute to finish this capstone class, but God is good, and I'm going back in January. I will be finishing up this last class that I have so I can receive my diploma. I beat all the odds.
For sure.
But I would be lying if I said it didn't kick my butt.
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said that it was rough. I was a kid. I was literally growing up with my son. And if you just look at our dynamic now, you can tell like we kind of grew up together. But one thing I will say is that I never gave up. All the odds that people stacked upon me, I knocked them down. Everything that they said that I wouldn't achieve, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't do, I did. And so, although it was difficult, it wasn't impossible.
For sure.
And I would say that the rock that kept me was Jesus. And did I know Jesus my whole life? I've known of Jesus my whole life. Did I give him my life my whole life? I did not. It wasn't until 2014 is when I got baptized, when I chose to get baptized myself. And I surrendered my life to Christ. And I will say that even from 2014 to today, there has still been some struggles and still been some times where I made mistakes or slipped up. But at the end of the day, the solid rock in this whole situation, this whole time, was Jesus. For
sure. And you said something that I really was like, dang, we might have to write that down. You said, although it was difficult, it wasn't impossible. And a lot of times you're going through so much stuff because you got to think about it. From you telling that story about you going to an alternative school, and I've heard of, what alternative schools are like, and you're carrying your child, your son at 16, and you got to wake up every morning knowing like this is, my situation right now. And sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't think to the future, like, oh, things are going to get better. You hearing all these different things from people that, some may have been in your corner before this had happened. You got pregnant. People telling you not going to be successful. You're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to graduate. You're dealing with, drug sweeps and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you chose to keep, God first and realize that, as you said, even though it was difficult, it was a challenge, it wasn't impossible. So I love that because, that's an inspiration for a girl who may be pregnant right now. That's an inspiration for, a young mother who has their child and is trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this? It just seems like if it's not one thing, it's two, as my dad would say. Like, so that's just big. And I love that because I love the resilient stories of people and just how you can hear something as, drastic, and it's like, dang, she really went through that. Because again, you can hear somebody talk and somebody could probably hear you talk and be like, dang, we didn't know she went through that. But it's, as you said, because of God's grace. And so I love that. And I can appreciate that. I don't have any kids, but like, it's just dope to hear and see that, you stay resilient and trust the process even amidst all the comments and all the different tests. Because I always say, like, life is a big test. And as we grow, the different scars that we have in life, those are answers to the test as we go on and we're tested over again.
Yeah.
And just kind of staying on that, what are some things, or what are 3 to 5 things that you would say that you've learned or have gotten you to where you are today?
3 to 5 things. So the first thing I would say is staying consistent.
For sure.
And whatever that looks like for you.
Mm-hmm.
Being consistent. Continuing to just persevere through it all. There has been days where I've cried myself to sleep. There has been days where I felt like I couldn't get out the bed. Weeks where I couldn't get out the bed. Felt as though I couldn't. If it wasn't for my kids, I probably would have stayed in the bed. But I knew that I had to, if I didn't get out the bed and provide for them, nobody else would. And so just the perseverance. I prayed a lot. I talked to Jesus a lot, and we just have a conversation. We literally just kick it, crying, screaming at him, mad, angry, all the emotions, happy, all the emotions. Surround yourself. I feel like surrounding myself with positive people, with people that were doing something, has helped me to get to where I'm at now. And being fearless. Do it scared. Do it anyways, because you just never know what's on the other side of that hurdle of fear that you have that's blocking you. And most of the time it's just the enemy anyways. He likes to creep up in our head and make us doubt ourselves. And when he's not even the qualifier for us, like he doesn't give us any qualifications. Like, back up off me, enemy. Right. Like, my God is my qualifier. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what's on the paper. It doesn't matter what experience I have. It doesn't matter what degrees I have. God has already qualified me for it. If I'm here, it's because I've already been qualified. And so just being fearless, that has opened up doors for me. That has introduced me to people that, I would have never imagined meeting, by just being unapologetically fearless, going in and speaking to people even when I'm scared. And if you got to give yourself a pep talk before you walk in, listen, don't, just because I seem outgoing doesn't mean nothing. I have to give myself a whole pep talk before I go. I'm like, okay, Taylor, you can do this. You got it. Just go ahead and go in there and just say hi. Just speak to somebody. Right. And most of the time I'll know somebody in there. I don't know. My friend told me this earlier today. It's like everywhere we go, you know somebody. Like, and so I'll find one person that I know. I'll make conversation, and that kind of warms me up. But there's been places where I've been that I haven't known anybody, and I just go in like, okay, I literally pep talk myself. I'll probably text somebody like, listen, I need you to give me some encouragement because I'm scared right now. And they're like, girl, scared. Right. If you don't go in there. And so just being fearless, like, go in there, do it scared. Doing it scared has gotten me so far. Like, do it anyways, because you just never know what's going to be on the other side of that. So yeah, for sure. I love it. And like you said, that's you coming up with the gems and the quotes today, doing it scared. Like, because a lot of people, they feel like they so comfortable. They want to do something that they've done their whole life, or that's like, it's easy. But, you know, as a big brother of mine always says, he's like, it's not supposed to be easy. Like, it's not supposed to always feel good. Like, that's how you grow. That's how you get better. And then when you look back, like, dang, I can really do this. Like, even though I failed a few times, I had a few hiccups, like, going back to what you said, it was difficult at first, but it's not impossible. It only becomes impossible when you say it is, or when you psych yourself out, or when you quit. So I love that. Like, one other thing I just wanted to say, like, my favorite, like, analogy, metaphor, whatever that I like to think of when I think about growth is I always think of a plant.
Yeah.
I always think, and I think I probably said this on the podcast last time. I say it every time I talk to people. If you think of what a flower has to go through to bloom, from seed, because you don't just plant the seed and it's like it has to break the shell.
Yeah, for sure.
Then it has to go through the ground. And think about how hard it is to dig dirt up. Now that flower has to grow through that dirt, the rocks, the weeds, the other plants, and break ground, and then grow through the greenery to get to sprout up into a fully bloomed flower, or even a plant. Like, think of the process of how it grows.
For sure.
And we complaining.
Exactly.
We gotta go through some stuff in order to grow to our full blooming season. So it's like.
Yeah. And as the year is coming to a close, what is something that you feel has been your biggest lesson of 2023? What has been your biggest lesson or lessons of 2023?
So this realization came to me actually Friday. I have been doing life with no systems. And people look at me and I'm sure they're probably like, oh, she got it all together. Like everything is good. She drives a nice car. She has a nice house. Like she's got a nice job. She's always smiling. Things are just going perfect for her.
Yeah.
Y'all, I've been doing life with no systems. There's no systems in my home. There's no systems with my cleaning company. There's no systems with my financial business. There's no systems with my friendship. I have been doing life all this time with no systems. And I'm like, this is why you keep getting ahead and then you come crashing down. Because there is no system in place. And I've been doing like, it looks as though I have a system because my routine is good.
Right.
My routine is the same. My routine is, I'm good at my routine. But I can't tell you why I'm doing it. I mean, other than I have to provide, like I can't pinpoint, I can't break it down. I can't tell you why I do certain things. There's no system.
Right.
And so I said, okay, 2024, we about to systemize every part of this, every part of your life, because we can't keep going into these new years doing the same stuff, having the same routines with no system, and expecting to elevate and stay elevated. My life has been literally a roller coaster. I get really good highs, and then when that boy come down, it's just crashing down. Like, that's why they tore the dragster down. Yeah, that's my life. That boy it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough systems there that were in place to keep me from crashing down. And so now, moving into 2024, I have to develop some systems. And so that is what I'll be working on these last couple weeks and the first couple weeks of January, so that I can make sure that Taylor stays afloat, because I can't keep going through life without systems. It's just too much.
And when I hear systems, I think about structure. Like I always apply stuff, probably because I'm a big basketball fan. Like to basketball, there's a certain way that teams go about the game plan. It's a game plan. We're going to do this so this goal can happen. Like I always compare it to, the 2015, 2016 Golden State Warriors, or all of the San Antonio Spurs championship teams. Everybody was successful because of the system. They go somewhere else, they get traded, they get cut, waived, they're not really talked about. But in that San Antonio, in that Golden State system, you got people that win max contracts. You got people that win rings, or, most improved players, or whatever the case may be, because they followed the system. There was a certain way that things had to get tackled in order to get to this goal. Yeah. So I love that. And so now we're going to play a game. It's called Let Me Get to Know You. I've created different variations of it, so you're the first one to be able to find out the different variation of it. So I have a few things listed down here, and I'm going to say them. Okay. It'll be like movies, shows, people, and you'll tell me like your favorite thing of them or this. So I'll give you an example. So the first one is Tyler Perry. So what is your favorite, I guess in this case would be show, movie, play when it comes to Tyler Perry?
Daddy's Little Girls.
Okay. Why you pick Daddy's Little Girls?
Honestly, I loved the relationship that their dad had with them, and I feel like it was a relationship that I desired from my dad that I did not have, and I feel like that is why I love it so much. And I mean, I'm a crier, so like I cry on that movie every time I watch it. But his fight that he put up for his girls, through all of what he went through, trying to get custody of those girls. It was so admirable just to see him fight. And I know you get his, people are like, well, that's his daughters. But you don't see that all the time.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
he went through a lot,
for sure.
A lot of fighting. And just to see him go through it and stick with it and get his girls, it was just amazing to see. I really love that movie.
For sure. I would say for me, when it comes to Tyler Perry, I'd probably say Medea's Family Reunion. You can't go wrong with that one. That's always a classic. Yes. I actually was watching it a few days ago, actually. The next one, Denzel Washington. What comes to mind when you hear Denzel Washington?
Everything. That man is in every movie.
No, for real.
Success, Black excellence comes to mind. I feel like Equalizer is like the first thing that, like, I don't know. He's just amazing. Denzel is amazing. Black excellence.
Yeah, I would say Equalizer. A movie, I don't know if a lot of people saw this one, A Soldier Story. That's a movie he played really well in too. Even though, like you said, he got a lot of movies that we could go on and on. But I would say Equalizer as well. And Soldier Story, I kind of like older movies. It's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie. I think it came out in the 80s or 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Third one, SZA. What comes to mind? What comes to mind when you hear SZA?